So that's it, Constança. Thank you very much for coming in. It's always a pleasure speaking to you. And of course, looking forward to another wonderful conversation.
Oh, hello, everyone. Hi, Vikram. Hope you're all well, good health, and that pretty soon we might meet personally. I keep wishing, it's positive wishing, wishful thinking. Also, it's of positive expectation towards meeting in person. But in the meantime, thanks again for having me here on this lovely Saturday morning for us here in Rio. For it, I assume it's early evening for you, Vikram, wherever
Yes.
you are, everyone, just have a wonderful weekend as well. Okay, we are in the peak of our summertime. So while some people are freezing at some parts of the world, we are melting down here. Temperatures can get up to between 80 and 100 Fahrenheit.
And what does it translate into degrees? In centigrade,
And it's between 30, 32, and it can get up to 40
wow.
degrees. And the problem, not so much at this time of the year, it's not only the high temperatures, but the fact that they stay for long periods. So it's very wearing, very exhausting. It's unhuman most of the time.
But how humid is it?
Because
How humid is it?
very much, very much.
And that's the
Humidity
problem.
can get up to 85% humidity. But still, you know, in a city like Rio, we have there's still hope because we can enjoy outdoor activities, and even in a city like Rio as well. And most coastal cities, whether major or small cities alongside the coast, we have nice beaches, and you can enjoy and take advantage of the summertime and enjoy the beach up to 7:30 p.m. So.
But Constança, I started a new series called Mediator Lifestyle. So what you have to do is, maybe next time you have to sit on the beach and take us through that. That is what we need to do.
Yeah, but let's do that perhaps from April on, because then we'll have the peak of the summer gone. We'll be in our autumn season, and it's actually the mid seasons, the autumn and spring, are the best time of the year to live in a tropical country and in a city like Rio, because you get the best of everything. Temperature, places are not so crowded because schools are on. So yeah. So we will do that in the mid-season.
Perfect. So we do that in April with Constança on the beach with her coconut and enjoying life, sitting there. That's the other side of mediators that we have to show. Their lifestyle.
Yeah, no.
I did one episode of that. I did one episode with Christina from Cyprus. So he was also supposed to go to the beach, but for some reason she could not make it. So then she was sitting in her house, and of course, she had an orange tree in her house and some paintings she had done. So she took us through that. So interesting. I mean, that's another side of people. Look, the idea is to put mediators out there, and this is their lifestyle is also an interesting thing to see.
Yeah, I could. Well, if it wasn't so hot already at this moment, we have a very nice, beautiful, sunny day today. But and I have a very nice view from my terrace of the Christ Redeemer. But it's too hot at this time of the morning to go there. So I wouldn't venture this possibility today. Okay.
No, definitely we'll do it. We'll do next time. But what you have to do is, Constança, you have to tell us about Constança. And it is not just the fact that, okay, I am a mediator, I'm a professor. More than that, Constança, the person.
Okay. Constança, the person. First of my most important role in life, this point, is that the fact that I'm a grandmother of two. In fact, one of them just turned 9 yesterday. And today, one of my kids, my baby girl, is turning 38. So we've been celebrating for the last 2 days, and this is something that I celebrate throughout my life after I became a mother, which was a major project, perhaps the most important project, personal project in my life. And life became very good. And everything I do, at one point, it starts actually in working and building up a legacy, whatever it is, but the best possible for my kids. You know, I've always as a mother and as a grandmother, I always plan and I work hard to be a good mother and a good grandmother, not the best I can be as a mother and as a grandmother. So it takes a lot of energy, but it pays off. Okay, yep. I can't complain about my kids. They're all very they're very good kids. They have this. They've been able to value the values that we have always cherished in our family. And this is also something that I really enjoy when I see them in life, and they are out in the world already. And as a mother, it's very heartwarming to feel that your kids are always welcome. They have all this notion of how important is to be and to relate well in the world, in the communities, in the work. So this is me. And from here on, I have been a lawyer for the last 13 years already. A professor, like we've mentioned before. My goal in life from here on, in this generation, I end. It 2016, when I was already in law school as a teacher. And like most of all, if not all of us, I was very disappointed with my law career at that time. I didn't fit at all. But still, that's what we have, what we had up to then. But thanks to my teaching, I started to, at that point, 2016, I started to read and research. At that time, we were also undergoing the Brazilian one. And my research, in my readings, I found out that they were already thinking about ADR as alternative dispute resolution within the legal panorama. And this was a very, I remember this time of my career because I felt more easy, and I anticipated, even at that point when I didn't have this very clear picture of what it would turn out 5 years later, or after the code was finally enacted. I couldn't envision what it would, in terms of my career, how it would benefit me. But at that point, I felt at easy. I see the light, the possibility of the light at the end of my tunnel. So I started reading and going after all the opportunities that I had to come across that new subject, and I started introducing at the same time the contents and mainly the international experience into my classes, into my students group, so that I could start, or at least I would aim to create or some kind of awareness. Now, I wouldn't be alone in this road, or best of both worlds. They could give the benefit of doubt and follow me, whatever that road would take. And here, as we chat now, almost 6 years later, it's another project that has paid off professionally, personally, because you cannot be the two aspects. They go together. You have to, like we've been discussing here throughout the series. If you're not happy with what you're doing, no matter how difficult, no matter how much you have to struggle, it won't work. So it has paid off. We have come a short but very intensive way as far as the promotion of the ADR methods and culture is concerned in Brazil. And I always refer to your perspective and the side effects of our colonization process here. And I'm glad to acknowledge that we've come also, we surpassed this stigma, this historical resistance, this historical fact, because Brazilians are moving very fast towards this change in this shift in this paradigm shift as far as ADR is concerned among us.
But Constança, we will have to only keep that mediation in. ADR for me is still areas which I don't want to. Even that A word, I keep saying I don't want to use the A word on my shows. It's only going to be mediation. Because the point is that the fact that I see people promoting mediation and arbitration together, I just find that a little sad. I just find it a little sad. Totally different concepts, and to push them together, the kind of impression that goes out that they're connected in some way has been a problem all over the world. People have still, everywhere you ask them, you use the word mediation and out will come arbitration. For some reason, that word will come out. So we have to make sure that we have to tell people that, look, this is a separate method and it has nothing to do with that. So please keep this separate. Even that, this, like that center that Daniel runs, that mediation and arbitration center, I just feel the centers can obviously have two sections. Like, you can have an arbitration center and you are going to have a mediation center. The names should not go together. That's the way I look at it, and that's the way slowly we'll be able to push the concept that they are different. So, because otherwise people will always confuse them. But only thing, but Constança, one thing that got missed out because your signal was a problem. You said, in this generation, that's a very important statement you were going to make, that got missed out. So you have to repeat that, because that part of it is really, really important. I would want to keep that as a clip separately. So in this generation, what do you want to see? Yes, please repeat that.
This is my mantra. In this generation, my main goal, professionally and personally, is to become a full-time mediator out of my community in Brazil. And going back to your comments about this misconceptions, I enjoyed at this point that we are on this with educating ourselves and people regarding what this is all about. But whenever I'm facing such kind of situations, I remember I go back to my hotelier times when I was a sales director of some hotel companies based in Rio, and we had also this motto as salesmen. When I was a sales group of salespeople, and when I was training my groups, I would always start with this challenge, and it said, salesmanship begins when the client says no, because that's when you are challenged. So, and I would make this analogy to what has been our saga in introducing and promoting ADR around the world. So we're prepared to that. And I remember that also, still in the hotel business, people would ask me, as a sales director or as a development product, what do you sell? And this was always an opportunity for me to go over to talk about the whole project, because I would, in the common sense, people would immediately think that to sell a hotel means to sell rooms, but you're not selling rooms only, you're selling the experience. Yep. And this is another ball game. This is another narrative, another discourse. And whenever we are doing this mediation promotion and undergoing all these difficulties and stigmas and this ignorance, I feel very, very challenged, very inspired, because it gives me reason, a pretext, a moment to speak out. And that's what we're here for. And that's why we have projects like yours, which started as a Woodstock. Now it's Disneyland. And I'm so happy.
I love that one.
Yeah, it's mediation Disneyland. And this is something that really motivates me, because whenever I look at your celebrity cast, people like Michael and Danny from Jams, and all of them, and you see that I'm among them, and I have this is a very, I take it as very seriously. It's a very, it's the kind of responsibility that I really enjoy having, and being here with you on a lovely Saturday morning, and working on new ideas and new outcomes. This is it for me
But
as far
Constantia,
as mediation is
yeah, and the
concerned.
main thing is it's a responsibility for both of us. You are an ambassador for mediation, and I have to put out the ambassadors of mediation. So for both of us, it's a very responsible work that we are doing. I think we'd have to take, and it is something which is for me very important, because I do not want the people to actually have any kind of, I mean, in terms of, okay, there is first of all a misconception on what is mediation. I mean, people don't understand that. Then there's no face for mediators that they have. So let's put out the best. Let's show people that these are special people, and which is what I'm trying to do. And it's been quite nice. I've been really enjoyed the conversations. I love such wonderful people. It's been really nice. But at the same time, I think I really like this Disneyland part. It's going to be used now, Constantia. That Woodstock of mediation. I keep saying Raphael put that. Now this
No.
Disneyland of mediation, it's going to be used, and Constantia is going to be referenced in that.
Because it's a permanent project. Disneyland is still there. I still pay homage to Rafael Lobo, who brilliantly had that insight about the Woodstock. But when we overcome that initial stage, we're evolving, we are developing, and we're moving. So we have to have this in a permanent basis, and that's why it always comes to mind, the Disneyland concept. And we work hard, we have fun, we meet, and we talk about so many things that we have in common, and that could be part of our legacy.
Yep.
And we're talking about, it's not only to have a legacy for self-promotion reasons. No, it goes beyond ourselves, beyond time. That's why we have to.
No, but in this case, Constantia is very clear that everything is happening only for one reason. Constantia can practice as a full-time mediator. Everything is being done for that. Please understand that. That's our goal. That's the target. That's what it's going to be. The whole target is that the child who comes into Disneyland has the best time and goes on to the best roller coaster that they can, and that is our target. That's our target. And when she's up there, she says, yes, this is now the wonderful experience that I wanted.
Yeah. And it's fun. It takes courage to go up there in the roller coaster. But like we say, as we get up to the top of the roller coaster, the best sensation is when you get down, and you start descending it, and you make it. So that's more or less how we feel, how I feel about this mediation saga that I've been carry on from my end here for the last 6 years, and for this generation again.
No, I think it's okay. I think these conversations are getting us there. Whatever it's just at this point of time, we're just putting these thoughts together and getting other people involved on those thoughts. And I think change will happen. People would look at it differently. Because that's why I was talking about the differentiation that people can't make between arbitration and mediation. I think that part of it, we have to tell people that this is not a poor cousin of arbitration. That's the way I think it's been promoted. That's an issue. But your signal went off for the middle. Were you okay? Did you hear anything that I said?
No, yeah, I'm sorry. I missed the last part.
Yeah. So I'm saying that these conversations that we have, at least whatever change can come in, the important one for me is that mediation is not a poor cousin of arbitration. Let's just get it clear. This is a dispute resolution method, and it does words cheap, free, all those should not be used. It's another method of dispute resolution. You pay for service that you get. And why should it be undersold? For what reason? I don't even know why people keep saying that. It's a resolution process.
Yeah, but I think this is normal. We expect that because it might not be something new, because mediation as such has been practiced for many years all over. But at this point, I see now we all realize, we're all aware of how important and how necessary among all these other procedures, and to include mediation, because now we know more about it, and life changes, and the way and the time that we're facing now is the appropriate time to find new methodologies, new ways of being living as a society. And mediation is the name of the game. So people tend to resist to what they don't know. It's okay. I take it.
But look, that was the but that was the idea. Like for the symposium, that was the idea, that you're connecting them to something that they are totally familiar with the process. It's not alien to them. So this whole technical thing, that the word is some rocket science or something like that, some rocket science process that you're going to be doing, you have to take that away from it. It's something we bring them to that, connect them to that. But at the same time, I think the important thing is for us to be able to understand mediation from a much larger perspective. Like with Gabriela, that's the conversation we have about that yesterday we had on that heart, soul, and spirituality. I don't know whether you managed to see that.
I did.
You did? Okay. So
yeah,
so the point is that discussion.
I'm a constellation supporter. I don't practice, but I follow Gabriela and her group. In fact, like she said, we mentioned the last time we were together, we have not only friends in common, but she's partners with one of my best friends in her constellation office. But I was watching Gabriela, and not only, and she's also good, constellations in Brazil are also good examples of how skeptical people still are, but at the same time, but at the moment that they experience or they simply learn about it, they become curious. And again, benefit of the doubt, when they try it, they love it.
That's what I have to. I'm curious. I still have to figure out what it is. It's already been but there'd be two conversations. Kind of. Last one was okay. This one was more about it. Before that, we had a small conversation on this. But now I'm on in March. She comes in again. I still have to figure out what the whole thing is. What is it all about?
It's amazing. It's amazing. I never tried it myself. All I know is from my my observations and from my readings, and just by being part of their group, because mediation and constellators, they go together most of the time. We're part of the same group. And another thing is that speaks highly about constellations, that they have been introduced in the court system, Brazilian court system, and it's heavily promoted within the courts for many years now. And this is something we could never imagine 10 years ago, because it would be like witchcraft, not witchcraft, it's sorcery, totally unfriendly. But they've come across a long way, and they're there already, and it's amazing. it's hard to describe.
You must
Have
describe
to.
it, but you have to describe it. Please tell us
She did a beautiful job yesterday in explaining, detailing how does it go and the orders and hierarchy of the orders and the concepts. It's very interesting, but you have to see it to really have an idea of how it works and how effective it can be. Again, like mediation or any other dispute resolution procedure, it's not the solution for all the problems. You have to have a very sound knowledge of what the case, what kind of procedure the case demands. It's something strategically. It's part of our training. But constellations, the way they are, the way they perform it, it stops.
So we'll have a live session. We'll ask Gabriela to do a live session on this. So that should be interesting.
She's done a couple. One of them, she was constellating Brazil or Lebanon.
Lebanon, yeah. So there's a video on her channel, but the only thing is because I didn't understand the language, I didn't really know what was happening there. But it seemed very interesting. There were some interesting things happening there, but I could understand. I could understand what was happening. But yes, because I really still want to figure out, because I've heard her I've heard her in 2 of those sessions, but I still have to understand how it works.
No, but you have, no matter how much we try to no matter how much we try to explain and it won't be enough for you to get the real the real sense of the experience, and ultimately you be you if you feel like it, or have this enough curiosity to explore it and have yourself being constellated.
I'll see someone else being constellated, I think. But the world should see this. If there's a method that you people are using and you found some good value in it, I think people should know about it, but you should take it to the world. I think we should.
But as I was listening to you and Gabriela yesterday, it reminded me of a related subject, which I've been very interested about in relation to our practice, which is meditation. Not because of the fact that I'm a transcendental meditation practitioner. For many years now, I love it, but as a teacher, it also interests me because I've been reading that throughout the world, and very recently, the American Bar Association has been highly recommending meditation for lawyers as part of their training. And I think it makes so much sense, don't you?
For me, it's a part of life itself. I mean, to really something don't even have to. I mean, I'm saying people have to sit and they have to do this thing. They're going to do meditation there, meditation there. But I think it has to just become part of you. You're doing it. It's something that you're doing as you go along life, through your day, whatever. I mean, it's not something that I feel you need to sit somewhere and do. It's just something that should be part of you at all points of time, whatever it's going to be. I mean, for me, maybe just walking on the golf course, maybe that does it to me. Maybe whatever. I mean, everyone has to find their way. But I think, yes, definitely, like I say, I mean, the point is be able to spend time with yourself and to be able to reach inside yourself, understand yourself, all those things that have to happen. You have to give time to yourself. Whenever, whatever. I mean, I'm saying you could be sitting in the most crowded place. It doesn't matter. For me, that there is this concept, yes, we have to sit in some quiet place somewhere and do this. For me, I don't think it's required. Once you're inside yourself, it doesn't matter. You've shut everything out just outside you. I mean, that's my concept. I'm sure everyone will have their way. But what has been your transcendental meditation experience?
Well, we follow the Maharishi Yogi, and Maharishi. He was the one whom the Beatles once also turned to, but it's become we have had I haven't experienced other types of meditation. I've always been with the Transcendental, and I like it very much. I think as far as my personal expectations are concerned, I've had such a wonderful outcome. It's been a very sound experience, not only as far as the process of self-knowledge and enlightenment, but in my profession, and each day more as I go into the mediation environment. Because most of the times when we're in our trainings or even practicing acting as mediators, the concepts, they're the same, but treated or seen from different perspectives. But in the end of the day, we're talking about the same thing. So this training with the meditation techniques has helped me a lot to face the mediation, and not only the challenges, but to develop and to advance my techniques, not only as far as the techniques are concerned, whichever they are, but it gives me a lot of self-confidence to advance as a mediator, because I always relate, most of the times I relate one to the other.
Yeah. No, I think the point is that's why I put out this whole thing about the heart, soul, and spirituality. I keep repeating it. You'll hear me say this so many times, because the thing is that if the mediator has connected to these things, then in the mediation, when that person can in some way connect the parties, and that energy that Gabriela and I were talking about, those energy fields and everything, all those things are so important in terms of the mediation that I am talking about, and how maybe you also practice it. I'm sure there are other ways of doing it. I'm sure there is deal making happening where maybe things are very different. So I'm not saying that everyone is practicing mediation in the same way. Everyone will have their way of going about it, and nothing is wrong. I mean, everything is right. At the end of the day, you are assisting parties to reach a certain settlement or certain resolution, whatever it might be. So I think that way, I feel that it is important, and I think we'll have to have more conversations on this, keep having this, because I think that aspect of it has got lost out because of this whole institutional direction that mediation took. And there are no numbers there in terms of number of matters which go into these institutions. Is nothing. I'm actually saying nothing compared to the number of disputes out there. It's nothing, but the highlight went into those institutional things. Everything, even certain, I don't know, legislation also in some way is directed by these people in terms of qualifications and accreditations and all those aspects, which have nothing to do with mediation. According to me, it's something which comes from within, and the fact that parties whom they are comfortable with, they will find the person. But if you've focused on this aspect of the institutional part of it, you've taken mediation into a different angle, different direction. I mean, that's the way I look at it. I don't know what your thoughts on that are.
No, it's culture too. It's very culture, and I think that one thing that really impacts us, and I know I get you when you feel this sort of uncomfortable position about how it's being practiced all over the world, because we're all connected now. Perhaps if it wasn't for the internet, we wouldn't feel as much uncomfortable at the same time. But on the other hand, I think it's very good because we're all part of the same group. We can share this ups and downs, pros and cons. And when I speak again about meditation and mediation, I see, for instance, one of the main techniques. It's among the main techniques in the Harvard negotiation project, the interest-based negotiation project. It usually tells us to go to the balcony, which is simply the same thing that we do when we meditate. It's one of the techniques that we go by at least with the transcendental meditation techniques. So things like that. And also I see it very positively from my teacher's standpoint, because this is something that we have to acknowledge. Brazil is moving quite fast in this direction.
But I think
now, most of our universities have included ADR and law schools. We started with law schools. Well, it's even the Ministry of Education passed a resolution, which is a kind of it's a norm. It's that makes that included ADR in the law schools, all law schools programs as a mandatory subject. And now most of the schools are getting adjusted to this change. So this is good. And again, when I'm dealing with such community, the students, the opportunity of spreading the word and make it contagious from this point of people's life is already an advance. Also, not only universities, but there are some schools, elementary schools in Brazil, which are already adopting and including negotiation and mediation, not only for the staff, teachers, and so forth, but for the kids. So,
but what I'm thinking, Constança, is that like interesting thing that you brought up about meditation. The way from India, meditation moved to all parts of the world. I think we'll have to take mediation in that like I said, the heart, soul, and spirituality. Take mediation in that manner to the world. And it's not, I mean, I'm telling you, it's not alien to people. There was Shadia Maraban from Indonesia. We were having a conversation as part of the symposium, and the aspect of the heart came out there, and how she works in conflict areas where there's violence. And she says that she goes there, and these people, look, can be termed terrorists by some people, as freedom fighters by other people, whatever terminology you want to use. These are people with their guns and they kill people. But she goes there and however she practices it, she sees these people crying. They've broken down with her. I mean, it's a very different way of going about it. I mean, to be able to reach that aspect of someone and to be able to start from there, I think that is where things maybe have got lost. It's become, I think, moved towards negotiation. I think that is, a path which I don't think it should have been looked at only from that perspective. I think this aspect of connection between individuals, reaching into the person and being able to relate to the person. I think the person, or I think that interest-based concept, very nice. No, not a problem. I haven't read that book because I don't read books, but yes, I'm sure it's good. But person-based. So it can't be just interest-based. It has to be person-based, and to be able to get that person, making that person an important part of it, and not any other, even that interest can become secondary, maybe. I mean, these are just thoughts. You people are the academicians and all for the world, and you are into that field, you will look at it. I would just put out these thoughts that I have. You will bring theory around it. But I think we need to, maybe I would think even Asia, South America, Africa, I think they might have a different way of looking at things. And I think maybe let's not call it a model, let's not call it an African model or an Asian model or a South American model, but I think we have to relook the way mediation has to be practiced in other parts of the world, not the box that has been circulated to various parts of the world. I don't know. Your thoughts on that?
No, I'm happy to tell you that when I mentioned to you, and I insist on it, we've moved quite far and fast. And Brazilians, because of our cultural heritage, we go very much by the people dash interested based mediation. So much so that when we try to convey in our community, the mediators community, other styles, other schools of mediation, like for instance, the evaluative mediation, which is another, which it's the self and practice with a different perspective, and each case is a different case, but still Brazilians resist a lot to this kind of technique, because the way they see it is that it's not so much people and interested based. They're more objective, and this objectiveness of the evaluative mediation would in a way hurt or induce people, the participants, or the media, the people that are involved in the conflict. But again, the way I've seen it being practiced in the United States more than once and very consistently, it's only a matter of the mediator's expertise to use throughout the process, whichever tools he has. But again, my thoughts about the mediation, and we have a lot of community mediation here in Brazil because of the social problems that we have in the slums and whatever. But still, this is a ongoing project, and it started very very intuitively practiced many years ago, but this is reality among us now. Community mediations, where this kind of approach is the approach, but not the only one.
I think that's where things get lost. There is not enough of work happening. There is more discussion on theory. That's what I see. There is so much discussion on theory, and the only discussions either on theory or how to make a mediator. How can we, some training, this training, that training, everything is there. But not enough practice is happening. And like you said, like focus is Constança being able to practice as a full-time mediator? No, that means there is so much talk, but on the ground, things aren't happening. And that is what I am more interested in. The other aspect of it, yes, it's been going on, and let it go on. So, but what I've decided now is going to be, focus is going to be each one of you included. I was telling one, I was telling Olga actually. Gabriela, we didn't get time because obviously she had to also she was shifting her house, and she had some work there. But one village, one maybe small town, one larger city. These are one communities there, or whatever community that you can find. Just ask them, who is it that you trust? Is there someone who not into this formal mediation thing, just someone there? Could be in families, could be in communities. We just have to identify those people, and in one school, just that. I'm just asking for these 4 areas. Let us find those people, and let's have conversations with them and those people who have benefited from those people. So
Mm-hmm.
now this whole formal part of it, let it go on here. We'll go that side. We'll actually identify them. They are connected to the community. Communities are connected to them. They trust them. So let's see what is it that they do. Let's talk to the people. People will get to know. So let's bring it from there, because they have lots to teach. Let that go out to people. I was speaking to some people from some village from India. So obviously that's in Hindi, so you won't be able to understand. I mean, I would send you the link, but that'll be an issue. But we were speaking about this, and first thing that I did was the difference between the decision made by there's a group, something called the panchayats that we have. These are people elected by the villagers, and they are supposed to come some kind of a self-governance concept. So everyone has been connecting mediation and panchayat. You will even the training manual we are the Supreme Court, which of course I won't get into courts being part of mediation, but let it be for the moment. We'll still talk about it. But they have a training manual there also. They talk about it, and that one conversation, first thing that came up is that panchayat and mediation, and they tell me that a panchayat makes a decision, which I know they make a decision. So if they take a decision, how is it mediation? It had to be explained to them. No, it doesn't work this way. Whatever, I had to take that. So first, we had to go through that. Second is, are there people there who people trust? Those names came out. That was the best part. The actual name, so they could identify. Okay, so and so is there. So now I've asked them to either make clips of those people, talk to the people. Let's see how that goes on, because that one clip this is this Ministry of Culture, Government of India. There was they have a organization part of that, so they had done this, so they have enough reach, so they can do that. But the concept I put across, that this is how we have to go about it. Get those names out, and I was telling them, you value these people, because these are the people who are actually doing good service to the community. People go out and they will pay lawyers anything. I mean, once they get into a dispute, anything. And these people who are actually whatever, they're doing the best they could. I mean, they're settling your matter forever, and you don't value them. I asked them, do you give them anything? Yeah, we give them love and affection. These are the people you need to value. So those people are there, just need to be identified. Communities have to understand that you have to value them. How you're going to do it, it's up to you. Community should get together, contribute, and they should be giving these people something on a monthly basis, I would say. Why should they not be? You go out and you elect politicians, and the state is, I mean, money is going out from the taxpayers pocket to the politicians, whatever you have, whatever level they are at. And these people who are actually give that service that they are giving to the community, nothing better than that. You're helping people resolve their disputes. So I think that part of it needs to be focused on. This is the way now I'm looking at the way forward now for me. Every part of the world.
When is this project taking? What is this an ongoing project?
Ongoing. And with Constança is part of it, and she has to do some work on it. And same thing, every part of the world. Let's do the same exercise. Let's get these people out there. These people are in a way going to be, I mean, you'll be connected to them. The benefit, what is the benefit for you in that? The thing is that you are out there, you are connecting with them. So you are actually obviously familiarizing the community also with mediation, and also telling them that these people exist, use them. But where do you come in? You come in when there are matters which are maybe more complex. Those people might not want to do those. I mean, there are expertise in various areas that people have. So that comes to you. So you benefit from the reach that the awareness of mediation brings. So you benefit from that. So you have your group of, like I've been saying, my 1,000 reach 1,000. That's all I'm saying. We have 1 million people out there. And I'm saying, if you have actually spoken, but the idea is that you should personally have spoken to these people. Like I am speaking to my 1,000. You should be speaking to your 1,000, because we have to be very sure who we bring in. That community that we are creating, we have to be very sure of that. There's no compromise on that. There's no compromise on that. because it's not just, oh, let's just get anything together, everyone, people together. No, it's not a number game. I'm making it a number game to the extent of 1,000 reach 1,000. There's no hurry to it. It can take 5 years, 10 years. I'm in no hurry. Vision 2026 I put out. That can go into Vision 2031. They're not a problem. But we have to be very selective. So let's do that. Let's start this exercise. I am saying that whatever you do, record it. Put it out on your YouTube channel. Let people, so that for the next community, you don't have to spend your time. That clip is available. It gets circulated to that community. Based on that, they identify the people. Those names come to you. And then you meet those people. So you're not spending your time repeating the same thing. That's what I keep saying. We have this technology at our disposal. They give it to you for free. They just take our data. That's all they take. Okay, it doesn't matter. They want to give us some advertisements. I'm okay with that. Not a problem. But this technology is available to us. Let's use it. Why should we keep repeating the same thing to people when we have this? Let them watch that clip and understand from the further. If they need any kind of clarification, anything, you can have those sessions. I do something called a mediation open house. So on that day, anyone can just join in. I've put the link on my website. So you can just click from there. You don't know registration required, nothing. So similarly, one day you can spend 1 hour, 1.5 hours, whatever. It's open. Anyone can come. Constança is available. Talk about mediation. People whom they have identified, bring them into the Zoom call. Just have these conversations. I found this to be the way I want to go about it now. We're just trying it out. So you would do it here.
Being a teacher again puts me in a very favorable position to try these things out. In fact, throughout the pandemics, I've done at least 3 sessions with my students, and the initiative was was theirs, because I remember the first round, or the first meeting that we have was during their recess time. So it was the winter vacation, and they were sort of nostalgic at that point of not being in class for a month and a half. So they had the idea. Now, why don't we have a happy hour or meeting during our recess period, and let's talk about mediation. Let's talk about ourselves. Let's talk about this subject. And I was so happy, so proud that it all came from them, and the word spread. And we had a couple of others, informal ones, and later on, late last year and this year, we had. Then I went on, and I was really encouraged to promote more formal initiatives. We had the winter course in mediation for all was the name of the project, and they all profited a lot, enjoyed it, and they engaged, which is even more which is rewarding. So we tried that, but on my personal level, I do that I try to do that, and I encourage my students, my family members, to try bits of this way of going through life, informally, intuitively. And just this week, I had an experience, a very rewarding experience as well, because it was a mother and 2 grown-up, son and daughter, and they were having problems. And then she simply said, we have this family issue, and we're having a very hard time in facing it, and time is running. We need to sit down and organize. And there were some historical difficult in relationship gap between brother and sister, and we had this 2-hour informal conversation, and they were so happy. I wasn't a mediator. I wasn't a friend. I was just a third neutral. We had a conversation. I tried to adapt to that context, whatever I could, as far as my capacities and training could benefit me.
That's what I'm saying.
And it worked.
That's why I'm saying that we have to identify the right people first, because the people whom you talk about mediation, of course, you are available to some people, yes, definitely, but you won't be available to everyone. So you have to have people as part of that network that you will create, because you have to give people the best user experience. You give it individually yourself, or you have to get the right people involved. That user experience can't be compromised. So I'm saying for some time, let us just spend time to get the right people into the fold. And these are people who are already there. They are practicing, and they haven't made it their occupation, a profession. I keep saying that profession is still, that part is up for discussion, whether it's a profession or not. I'm saying it's a way of life. Whether it's a profession or not, we'll have to discuss it. I'm not quite comfortable with calling it a profession, because it takes it into a different direction. For a moment, that question mark is there on my website in front of profession. We'll discuss it. We'll have a discussion on it. So that's a separate thing as part of Vision 2026. But the important thing I found earlier, I thought law students should be the people whom we should involve, and they should be also promoting mediation and get them interested. But I realized, I think they're at that stage where they haven't, because obviously this is not something they've gone through in school. It's not been discussed with them, and those people have not been identified. So I just felt that teachers should be our target. We should be bringing teachers into the, not as mediators. Maybe they're not mediators. They should be what I call peacemakers. I have two things. I don't know whether once, Constança, please go to my website once, mediatorvikram.com. It has been enough time. Please visit it once. You haven't visited it once. I put out there.
I've been there many times already.
No,
I'm a regular.
Yeah.
I'm a regular.
Okay, so there is a section on Mediators Collective and Peacemakers Collective. I don't know whether you read that section. So what I said was, so one is obviously the mediators. Definitely, we have to identify them. But on the other end, we need peacemakers, who are the people who are going to coordinate between mediators and the parties, because that by itself is a process. Getting people on the table, reaching out to the other side, it's a process. By everyone can't do it, but everyone can't be a mediator also. So that they have their role to play. So I felt teachers should be a good target for that, because they respected in the community, and they have that kind of relationship, and they talk about something, and of course some way of peacefully settling something, people would listen to them. So let's get teachers involved in that, because this, what I was saying, in India, those people from the village, they were all teachers. And I found them, of course, one is, of course, they're reasonable, they understand, they're willing to understand, they're willing to learn, because obviously they come from that kind of activity. So I think let's get the teachers in. And what am I saying? One community, one village. You don't have too much of a rural population. I think what, 10-12% maybe, but still there must be some rural area somewhere around there. So that's because why I want to touch that rural community is, let us see whether that has been untouched by whatever the way of dispute resolution which the colonization brought in, that thought process that the colonization brought in. Are they untouched from that, or they also have lost their roots on that? Let's see what the situation is. Because I from Brazil, I haven't got any kind of information on what the situation is, because there was Carolina who was part of the symposium. She said, I have no idea. You also did not throw any light on what the situation earlier was. So I don't know what was the situation before. Like here we're talking about a panchayat concept in India, and in Africa they talk about their tribes and it might not be mediation in all cases, but there was a dispute resolution method, which is a traditional method, say in the indigenous communities in Canada, US, Australia, New Zealand. Here. So that part of it, let's reach out to them. Let us see what they're doing. I mean, I'm not saying that we are telling them that, okay, this is how you practice. No, we are understanding from them, how do they practice?
They're a good source.
Let's just do that. It's just a conversation. And obviously, I don't know, it'll be Portuguese. So obviously you'll maybe tell us about the conversation later. But I'm saying record it. I think record it, and you have a channel of yours. So put it up on that, and let's just have these discussions. Similar, I'm saying whatever I'm doing is exactly what my 1,000 should be doing, and better, and better. You'll be
You're doing a great job.
No, I'm telling you, you'll do a much better job. I'm telling you, you will. It's just that, okay, I have decided this has become a major focus on my life. I enjoy doing it. I'm not even saying that I enjoy doing it. I take out time because I enjoy taking out that time. It's not that I'm being forced to do it or anything like that. I really enjoy it. But I still feel that the next stage, when you bring in your 1,000, and when we see 1,000,000 of these people out there, we'll see a change. Right now it's a 2026 frame of time that we are putting out. So let's look at it from that perspective. Let's start the process. Let's see how it goes. Then we'll compare notes. Then we'll have people from all parts of the world. We'll sit together, and whatever experience we've had, talking to people, what we've understood, to take it in the right direction. Because after going through everything, discussing with people, and I've understood that this seems to be something that I really feel we need to do. Identifying those people at the grassroots level. And they could be in families. I'm not even saying that in communities, just in families also. Those people have to be identified, because I keep saying, you heard me enough times, so I don't have to repeat to you, but I will repeat to you. We don't make mediators. You don't go into a 40-hour factory and make mediators. They're out there and they are trusted and they are practicing. Why not bring them in? But at the same time, they should be valued, because finally we want them to be practicing like Constança on a full-time basis, because we need these people. But this is only stage one. Stage two, after we've got that network, then the other role of mediators, the larger role of mediators in society, which is like Ken Cloak talks about, those 10 points, then that role comes in. Then that once that reasonable, fair voice is out there, and there's someone like that in communities and everywhere, that change within the whole mindset that, okay, this is a way of going about life, then society gets transformed at some stage, whatever stage that happens. So we're looking at long term, but in the short term, I think this is what we need to do.
Yeah, but they are indeed they are a very powerful source of knowledge. You read all these books from authors who deal with negotiation, and Marshall Rosenberg with nonviolent communication. All of them, at a certain point in time of their professional career, they relied on this group of persons. They all have stories to tell us, inspiring ones, to justify the methodology or the procedures, the concepts. So I really value this kind of people. And again, going back to the community mediation, these people are more open and sensitive to mediation than in a higher social class. Because I think the sense of belonging, the hard experiences in life that they face, it's sort of I think it's a natural bond. And so they tend to adhere easier.
And the important thing I keep saying is that, for me, like I keep saying, this is a dispute resolution revolution. Let's actually help people resolve disputes. What is happening is that it moves into conflict, and then conflict management and non-violent communication, and goes into a different area. Actual dispute resolution is what people have to see. They have to see results in front of them. Okay, this is what's this dispute, this got resolved. So they take to the whole method, and then they use it for other things. They use it as part of their lives. That's their thing, and they will. So a person who sits in a mediation changes. That person's outlook on life changes. The way they deal with people does change. That happens, and that's the best way for them to learn. This is actual practice. But the interesting thing I was going to tell you is that these people in the village, they're very open about this being discussed. So I said, what we could do is maybe we could have either live or record the session with these people who are in the village, who are already doing it, who are trusted. Record that session. We can actually put it on YouTube. because there is no problem there. I was speaking to them. They said there's no issue of this confidentiality or anything like that. They will have no problem. The people who are the parties and the mediator, they will have no problem. So we might be able to, from various parts of the world, get actual mediations put out. Everyone is, all these young people, they keep roaming around finding out mock mediation and this role play and this that. No, this will be actual stuff, and from all parts of the world we'll be able to get it, maybe. So let's see how it progresses. I mean,
one thing that we also been practicing, and I think it's also connected to what you just mentioned, is that Brazilians have also started practicing restorative justice here.
Yeah.
And this has been a very productive, and it's moving fast among us in and out of the courts. And I guess that's another way of looking at the problem.
Yeah, all parts of the world that discussion is happening. So I also am planning that have a special session or a few sessions on that. So but we have to bring, but we have to bring the right people together. I mean, I'm identifying, because work is happening all over the world on it, but the people have to be, you know me, I'm very selective about the people. So I'm
I take it as a compliment. Thank you.
Look, I celebrate you as Constança, and we need people like you. That's what mediation needs. Our ambassadors of mediation. That's what we need. But you were going to share something. You said you were going to share the screen and you were going to tell us about
something. This is something that came across during one of the meetings we had with this mediation group. It's a panel of mediators, senior ones, and I was happy to be included again among them. And we had a very productive session recently, and we were sort of commenting and analyzing this year's edition of this report called, it's a project called World Justice Project, and they published the report's called Rule of Law Index. And it's a very comprehensive picture of how justice is being managed, and how the true access to justice is being carried on throughout the world. But they are in an independent group, and they have researched the 139 countries. They analyzed the justice in an overall perspective, and then they go country by country according to the ranking, and they use as criteria 4 main factors. And in this report, like I said, it's very comprehensive. It's very user friendly, and they describe each of the factors, and for each factor they have what they call sub-factors. And with this content, they divided the research into 7 or 8 areas. So I thought we could go very quickly, and I invite you all to go over perhaps Vikram, I could send you the link, and you could spread the word afterwards. And I picked up 2 aspects. I thought, because one of them has to do with our mediation talks. So I selected civil justice and law enforcement for us to just very quickly. It's a very, like I said, it's a very friendly user type of document. Can you see it?
Yep.
Vikram?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is it. That's how it looks like, the report. And if we scroll down, we will be able to go over the report. This is the opening, the overall, the overview, and I'll let you go through it as you go along, if it interests. And it's very, very nice, and it goes on. And if we want to go to see the overall picture, here, this is the page, okay, where they, and in the upper, at this upper right corner of the report, they have this scale from weak to strong, weaker to stronger adherence to the rule of law. And to our surprise, or no, luckily, Brazil wasn't as bad as it we expected, because out of 139, Brazil is it's on its positions, has the position 77. And
India's right there. India's right there.
India is right.
And they're at the same level, 0.5. It still says 0.5 for all of them.
Why not?
They had to give numbers to all of them, but they're all at 0.5.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're at the same level. Yeah, we're at the same situation.
We can complain. We're even. Okay. And from here on, like I said, well, I'm going to select Brazil, and I'll show you from among the, considering the factors and the sub-factors, the areas which might interest us here: civil justice. And again, Brazil is not so.
You have to go up. I think we saw
so
that
bad as it should, but here we can have a better picture, because, like I said, in this area they have the sub-factors, the criteria explained in the table, with always taking into consideration the weak or stronger, weaker or stronger adherence to the rule of law. And one of these criteria, and this is for us here, 7.7. See, if we consider a milestone for us, a legal within the legal framework, we normally consider the year of 2010 as the start, or the official, the inauguration of our mediation ADR era in Brazil, because it's when the Brazilian, the National Council of Justice enacted the first resolution creating ADR and conflict resolution, or establishing conflict resolution officially in Brazil. So we see that in 5 years, we're not so bad. You know, we're halfway through.
And where does India stand with that? Let's see where India stands.
Okay, let's see India.
Let us see how we are doing.
India.
Yep.
India. We're a few positions ahead of you, because we are in position 78 in India, 94.
it's way back there. Yeah.
Out of 139.
Yeah.
Okay. They have, this is also very significant to look at as far as going back to looking at Brazil, how it looks like. You see, overall picture. Huh?
Criminal justice is down to 112.
Yeah. Here we're not doing so well as we should.
Colonization, Constança, colonization has is all responsible for the way. So that's why restorative justice and all that, those things, we have to have those discussions.
Yeah, but again, see, criminal adjudication system, we're very poor ranked.
I think what I do is, let me also.
But that's something which I consider very important. The correctional system is it's not effective in reducing criminal behavior, because our prison system here is beyond poor, you know. So
okay,
talking about
but Constança, we're a little better off. We're a little better off. We are 124 there. Really bad. I mean, really bad, the situation. But we have to, let's see, what are the other countries? Can we see a table, this in the table form?
Any.
Can we see in the table form? I want to see the table form.
Oh yeah, let's go to the overall index score.
Yeah, for criminal justice. Okay. I want to see criminal justice. And I want to see whether there is a correlation of colonization and
global insights.
If that, say, what table that you opened, if you can see it in the criminal justice in country wise, and it's
okay.
Global insight. Let's see. Okay, let's see global insight. Global insight on that.
Criminal justice. Let's see.
That should be interesting. That should be interesting. Who are the? Which are the countries up there?
Let's start from the bottom and see if we. Okay, not here. Whoever finds Brazil is 120, position 112, 112, 0.33.
We are ahead of that. We are at.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Not good. We're
India,
86.
India, 86.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not
bad. Congrats.
Bad. No, but
okay.
What I want to see actually is, again, because the colonization aspect that I bring in. So which are the colonies which are doing all right? And then we will get into why are they doing better? What are what reforms have they got? What are the changes they brought in? So let's hit the colonies. See, let's start from the top. So Singapore seems to have done a good job on their number 7. So their penal code is the same as us. Singapore is on top. That was a colony. But the point is that Singapore has the same penal code as us. So what the colonizer gave us, they picked the same. So that means in the procedural law, they have brought in changes. Where else they brought in changes? I think that's where we'll have to start. Because otherwise, Canada is there. I'm looking at the colonies.
Canada.
New Zealand is there. So I really want to be. I'm really interested in
Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Hong Kong is position 15.
And where China must be. China, no.
18.
And where China? China must be way down somewhere.
No, yes.
China 69. Yeah.
Now take a guess where Venezuela could be. Venezuela.
where? Oh my God! Back there, your neighbor.
Not only criminal justice. Venezuela has managed to be in this position or similar, very close to it. In all factors.
And that's your neighbor in a way.
Very sad.
So what is the situation there? Or you will have to tell us why is it like that? What is the situation there?
I wouldn't, to tell you the truth, I wouldn't like to go so much into details because Venezuela is something.
You see the difference? No, I'm seeing the difference here. It says 0.22, 0.25, but with Venezuela, from 0.22, it goes straight to 0.12. That is the. Yeah. It's at a real low.
Yeah, Venezuela and Venezuela is a very sad story because if you remember in the 90s, Venezuela was like the top of the world as far as Latin American or was concerned, because they were enjoying such a good life, the economy, everything was blooming, everything was life in Venezuela was something to hope for. I myself, I had friends who moved to Venezuela, they're still there, and to listen to their stories is something very touching, very uncomfortable to see how life changed, and I'm talking about upper middle class people. Can you imagine the poor and not to talk about the political environment?
But tell me something. How did Uruguay do so well? Uruguay has done well on this index. So what are the changes they brought in? What did they do?
I didn't get your question.
How come Uruguay has done a good job? They're quite high on the index. So if you look at it, so Uruguay is also your neighbor, Venezuela is also your neighbor. So what is the difference there between these two?
Mainly political. Political.
So that means that there is hope. It's not, there is hope there. If Uruguay can do it, that means
Brazil there is hope because they in Colombia, they were able to control the political and the economic environment up to the point when they made they settled with the FARC, the terrorists, the political group that they had been fighting for many years, and Yuri was one of the negotiators who were involved very closely with this settlement.
So basically, Chile
which ended almost 50 years of civil war and all kinds of dramatic things that happened in Colombia. Now it looks like it's under control, and Colombia is.
But where is Colombia? Where is Colombia? Colombia is 119. Colombia is 119. 119. Basically, what I'm saying is that Uruguay and Chile, they've done well in terms of this index. So that they should be looked at. Argentina is also at about 77. And what we are, of course, it's 86. So I think we have to see in terms of changes that both Chile and Uruguay are in front of you. They're right there. Because if you look at this index, you are at 112. It's way back there.
Yeah.
Peru is also 115. So Colombia is 119. Whereas Mexico.
See?
So there is some issue on that side. So what is happening there? Is it?
I think I think they enjoy some stability now for some time now, because this civil turbulence that they had been facing for almost 50 years. It was a major issue.
But where does Mexico fit into all this?
Mexico.
Mexico also must be way down only. Way down.
Have you found it already?
I'm looking for it. It's way down somewhere. It's way down. 129. Okay, so Mexico 129, Paraguay 132.
And again, right after Mexico, you have Haiti.
Yep.
You see?
Yeah.
That's something that really caught us by surprise, because such different countries, such different environments in all aspects. And still, when you talk about justice, rule of law, they're not so far away.
Yep. Because when I look at it from here, this out here, in that sense, if I look at what in the region, so okay, so we're a little better off than our neighbor. So, so that way, so we must have done something right. Maybe the political structure and some stability there, maybe. So, okay, but anyway, I mean, main thing is that you have your examples. So you have your Uruguay and Chile, which have done all right. So,
and we're talking about criminal justice, and
yeah.
I always look at the civil justice too.
Let's look at civil
Because,
justice. Yeah, let's look at civil justice. Civil justice, where are we?
Talking about
we are 110, is it? We are 110 on civil justice. Where does Brazil come in? Brazil is 75. So basically you're saying let's go from the bottom. So Venezuela is 138.
158,
130. Venezuela is 138. Mexico is 131.
Yeah, again, Venezuela, you can go directly to the bottom of the ranking, because in that range category.
But in that sense, why is Peru also down there? It's 114. So Peru has not been able to do much there, is it?
I'm not following Peruvian politics that close, but recently they had a change in government, and as we learned it from our end, there was this president, Alberto Fujimori, from Japanese descendant, and he was a right-wing kind of guy in a Latin American country, and tried to stay authoritarian type, Latin American. I don't know who's ruling now, who took over after the election.
I think in this sense, civil justice also, Uruguay is number 19. It's not bad. So your neighbor is doing well.
Who is our neighbor?
Uruguay.
Uruguay.
Number 19. Not bad at all.
Uruguay.
Chile is 39. In that sense, actually, civil justice, I'm quite surprised that actually I saw Argentina up there. So Argentina is also not, I mean, in terms of civil justice is quite bad. So criminal justice is quite bad, but civil justice, at least some work is happening. So 55.
Yeah.
But what we have to do is, Constança, we have to
stop sharing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I've opened it separately on my window. But what I was thinking was that maybe look at them as economies, as the size of economies and per capita income, and let's look at those factors, and then look at the civil justice and criminal justice, and look at the fact whether they were as colonies. Obviously, most of them will be colonies there. So let's look at what has happened in that sense, because for me, that decolonization part of my vision 2026. So we can take this up as a discussion on that to see.
I would suggest, because I've looked at it too, the fact of fundamental rights. It's quite interesting. And enforcement, government openness to justice, which is very interesting, to fundamental rights.
But how much look at this, Constança, fundamental rights. We are at 93. Brazil is at 95. Why are we going together?
Out of 139.
Why?
That's why that's why we have to look at some to put some priority into some factors as researchers.
But I want to see who are the ones who are doing well on this in terms of our part of the world and your part of the world. So Uruguay obviously comes up on top. And in our region, because I'm not going to count Singapore as part of it, because Singapore is too small to really get into that. I mean, it's too small for that, but still, Singapore is nowhere on top. Wow. I thought maybe Singapore will be up there. You know where Singapore stands? I just want to see this. That's very interesting. They have number 38. Imagine, on fundamental rights, they're 38, while they're on top in terms of civil justice and criminal justice.
Yeah.
Fundamental rights is an issue. So, but of course, we are way
No,
down. So,
you know what? I like this kind of information, this report, independent report, but it like just mentioned why it puts us in a position when I read this kind of reports and information. Why are the results as such? We take for granted that the source is trustable. It's a trustworthy one. But let's go further. And the main question, the key question is why and how it developed.
Constança, you were sitting there, right? Like I said, your neighbor. Uruguay on fundamental rights is 16. You are right next door, and you are way down. So what is it that they were able to change? Because of course, your history part of it, you would know better what the history is of Uruguay and Brazil. But we should look at them as examples, because it's quite a contrast, and your neighbors. And because
the it's not an answer, but one we could think about this possibility. We could use this possibility up to late 80s. Brazilians were facing a dictatorship for many years, and we had the change in our political system with this constitution that we had. It was like opening we call it oppression pen. Everything that was, all the constraints, all the pressure that was suffocate, the social and political pressure that had been there. It came out, and is our constitution, regardless of all the criticisms, was a way of bringing this new hopes to the political scenario and social as well. And so we made improvements as far as fundamental rights are concerned, but the main achievement was the fact that people became aware of their real fundamental rights that had been put aside or constrained during a certain time of the year, and updated this social aspirations with the world's aspirations, because then Brazil, and even politically, we had presidents that worked very hard towards putting Brazil back again into the commercial scenario and the political. We had, they were criticized, giving the country away, but they opened up several opportunities also for the economy. And we became again a key player in the international scenario.
Okay, so basically, political system is one important part of it, which will definitely play a role. There. Because you have these examples right next door. Because we also have that example. We have Pakistan on one side, where obviously the political situation was very different. So that maybe leads to Pakistan being down there at number 126 on fundamental rights. We also not really there, but it's still 93. So we might just feel a little better about that. But that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. These are not good signs, but we'll still have to.
And one thing that also caught our attention while we were studying, going over this report, is as far as criminal justice is concerned, the impartiality was in Brazil was very low ranked in the criminal system. Impartiality, and it has to do with fundamental rights too.
So we'll have to. So I mean, interesting. Look, the only thing is that definitely, I mean, the statistics obviously will have. They are flaws in the way
Of
things are
course.
collected. So obviously, but it's just a broad idea, just to get a broad idea. I mean, I'm not saying that this is will be absolutely true. There will be biases
That's
there.
it.
Nothing happens without biases. Definitely, there are
Yeah.
some. But at least we have some indicator. And then
Yeah.
for me, I'll tell you, for me, Constança, this aspect of the colonization part of it, we need to study that. We have to get to the root of that, because if you have to change the mindset towards dispute resolution, you have to be able to get to the root of it and what people actually think, why they think that, and because conditioning of the mind over hundreds of years to change it is not going to be so simple, but we have to start working on it. So let's see where that issue is, how people are looking at it, because it's not going to be easy. I'm telling you, there is getting quotes out of people's mind. It's not going to be that easy. And of course, like I have this problem with mediation being connected with courts. Definitely, it's furthering the problem. It's not helping. So if we get to that. But what I have to take you through is, because I have to take you what all is happening in February. That part of it I have to show you also. Although you have seen yesterday, okay, with Gabriela, I didn't show that because she also had to go. But you must know what all is happening, and you have to be participating, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let us see what is happening, and then, okay. No, this is not it. This is the one that was yesterday. This is not. Where is that one gone? Okay, this we got it now. First of all, I think people don't know that the recording is also available. I keep writing live on YouTube. Actually, I've started writing live and recording on YouTube, because people send me messages, say, is there a recording available? So people don't know that. So anyway, so index of videos is on mediatorvikram.com. I've tried to put it down. I mean, I just put the speaker link, put a link to their LinkedIn profile. So Olga was, of course, she's a wonderful person. It was a very nice conversation we had. And then this, did you see this lecture? Poetry?
No.
Okay, so Kathy is talking about using poetry in mediation, and of course,
that's nice.
Climate change is definitely close to her heart, so that's part of it. Because she's living in a very small place in Canada. I think the population must be 700 people or 800 people, but they had to be evacuated because of the forest fires that took place. So seen that what happens with nature, all that she's saying. Imagine the daytime with all the cloud, that whole smoke covers everything. You see things from a different perspective altogether. So she wrote some poetry related to that also. Then yes, Gabriela yesterday. And then Constança, this person you might know. Do we know this person? This is not the person we see.
I've seen her somewhere.
This is
looks familiar.
Okay, so Wednesday we do this. Mahatma Gandhi and mediation.
Wow.
That should be interesting, right?
It will.
In a very objective manner. Elena's clip I put out as my post.
She was the one who had the New Year's Eve
exactly.
Christmas.
It was New Year's. Such as a nice message. I mean, really.
Yeah.
I get a message, a warm message from cold Siberia. From Russia with love. That was really nice.
Love. Yeah.
And then this is the mediator experiences. It's going to be jams fellows for some time. First, let me cover as many as I can out of them. Then we'll go to other people talking about their experiences in relation to the mediation world. It's not in the mediation. It's in relation to the mediation world.
Are you a GEM fellow yourself?
No. I'm not going to all this studying thing and all that thing. You people
Oh,
are good
come on.
Give me the other job. Give me the job to go down to the villages and identify those people.
Okay,
and
you have it.
Eleni, and then Isaac from Ghana. And then what do we have? Then we have the mediation visionaries. Then we have that.
Another book?
No. This is mediation visionary. So their vision on for that vision 2026.
Okay.
Their vision for the evolution of mediators and mediation. I did that with
Okay.
Ken Cloak. I've done 2 of them, and with Shriram Panchu from India, I did 1 of that. And then we have this. Then we discussed this book with Bernie Meyer. And then we have Danny Weinstein, 26th, and then we have the last day of the month. That's about it. That's it. Nothing much.
Not a lot. There's always a lot in Disneyland.
Yes, it's going to change now. The Disneyland of mediation. It's going to change.
Yeah, because it's a permanent thing.
Yes. No, it's going to be interesting. That's the good name that you've given it, Constança. It's coming out. It's very soon. You'll see that everywhere. Disneyland of mediation.
I'm not as good as Rafael is with technology, so you might, if you want to go on with the idea, you have to ask someone to design a new banner.
Yes, a happy banner. Disneyland of mediation. People popping out from places.
Mediators united in technology.
Yes. No,
Nanotechnology.
We'll tell Raphael to be a little more creative and do something there. So, but otherwise, Constança, now, okay, you've heard me on, of course, a lot of you do watch a lot of shows and everything. So in terms of your vision 2026, what are you going to be? What would you say? How are you looking at the evolution of mediators and mediation?
Positively. Aside from my personal goal to become this full-time mediator out of my community, I see it again, but I feel very strong about this mediation being internalized in our lives, like you mentioned, as something natural, as a consequence of being humans.
Yeah.
And as humans, I think we've been facing this opportunity, and perhaps the pandemics triggered this reflection, this change in paradigm as far as social relationships are concerned. You know, we have to review our concepts of what is being human as human beings. And I think within this perspective, mediation will come naturally. But we have to work hard for it, because like we've been saying to each other, and the idea is to spread the word. And again, as a teacher, I keep telling myself, and I firmly believe that I was the right person in the right place at the right time when I decided to practice and become a mediator 6 years ago.
I'm not going to accept that. No, Constança, I'm not going to accept become a mediator. Not become.
Oh,
you are a mediator. You have been a mediator. You don't become. You were one. You were always one. You just took to it as whatever, be it as an occupation, let's not say profession, whether it's an occupation or whatever it might be. I'm telling you, becoming is something then goes against my whole concept when I say evolution of a mediator.
I get you.
Yes,
I get you.
yes,
I hate to
yes.
disappoint you, but I have to agree with you. Okay. We're even.
I'll force you
We're
to.
even.
Okay.
No. Okay.
Because the seed is there. The seed is there.
Yeah.
Evolution happens. Evolution will happen. No problem. But that becoming will mean that there is something that something else happened at that moment. No, nothing happened. You just evolved into that phase of your life, and you'll evolve into further phases of your life, which will be in terms of mediation, a lot of other things you do. You go into various phases, but that person who started off, that evolution that is taking place, we'll keep seeing that happening. But so it's not a becoming like that. It's this you as a person. Like that's why I said a way of life kind of thing.
Yeah, true. Then I also always comes to my mind that we, like you said, life evolves. Technology is here to stay, and technology is being so much so sophisticated that we can resume to where we left off when technology start to be part of our lives. Because up to then, we were just human beings. So we have all the time in the world now, while technology is doing part of our repetitive or whatever jobs we are assigning to technology, and go back to our original roots. Why not through mediation?
Yep, absolutely. Okay, but now, Constança, the important part is that now you're a grandmother. That's a very responsible, and that's a very responsible thing. I don't know, because I'm sure did not see Olga's session in conversation on Wednesday. She spoke about how what she got from her grandmother, that influence of her grandmother. Like we were discussing, that value system that you get from your grandparents, that value system stays with you, and then this is part of that evolution of a mediator part of it. That's why I was telling her that's why in evolution of a mediator, I go back to a person's grandparents, parents, them growing up. That is something which is a base for this individual. When the individual comes into this world, these people are around you, and what they bring in, their experiences, their thought process that they bring into your system is very important. So that is why you have a very responsible job to do.
Yeah.
Value system that you are going to bring them, and they're lucky to have a grandmother like you. So we are hoping that they will imbibe the best. Let's hope that. I mean, not all grandchildren pick up everything that they should, but we are.
No, can't complain. I couldn't ask for more at this point in life. Being a grandmother of these two girls, and hopefully I'll have more, because I have two sons still to be married, or at their when they find it appropriate. But it gives such a meaning to life.
Yeah, and like I said, that's an important part of it's like a job that you have to do in this world to be able to. Because look, as a parent, there is a certain aspect that you bring in, but as a grandparent, there is a totally different. I'm saying value system. I keep saying value system because that value system is the one that is getting missed out, and that value system being missed out, then all these things that we say, that taking people back to their roots, be it mediation or anything, that aspect gets left out because of that. So there's a connect there. There's a connect that that you have to have, and that is where we've
never lost these values, but they were just put aside. Like I said, I think the contemporary way of life misled us. At first it was this awesome sensation, and now we, like I said, at this point of technology development, sophistication, we can resume and stop and think, rescue our original values, our inherited values.
No, Constança, what I'm looking at is how technology has gone against us in terms of the value system. Again, this discussion I was having with Olga only on Wednesday only, that we have Hollywood. Hollywood has given us movies which have gone all over the world. Now, one thing that you go back to the black and white era. You will see that alcohol, the way it has been pushed in movies, every aspect of cigarettes, the way it's been pushed, that conditioning of the mind that's happened over, now look at the tens of years that this has happened. Today, a child feels that celebration means alcohol. Then proposing means a diamond ring. It is all pushed to us. So, and these are large companies who are benefiting from this. The diamond trade is controlled by such few companies that they influence all this. The alcohol industry is huge. If you look at the spent on alcohol in the world, it's about, I think it's about $1.5 trillion. Wow. 1.5 trillion US dollars are spent on alcohol. I mean, there are countries which have much smaller economies. I think if you look at it from the list of economies, this will be like maybe 10th, 12th, 14th. I don't know. We'll have to see that. Of course, we see the statistics, but that's that huge. It is. I mean, if you can condition because of technology, that conditioning that is happening, and if we have to, of course, counter it, we have to use technology in the same way. That is why I want you to have your YouTube channel. Your words of wisdom, your thought process should be available to people to see all the time. That's if good word is not put out and good people don't come out, the other people look, there is so much of it. Money obviously plays such a major role, such vested interests on the other side. They are going to keep pushing their agenda. So we have to see that if we can counter it in whatever way we are to, I mean, we'll be doing it at a very small level. Those people have huge resources to their side. They might, but I think if the good word spreads, it can be. I mean, things go viral. What if you see this TikTok or whatever, certain videos just go viral. So good thoughts can go out. There is medium available. There is a medium available for that. So let's put it out. One clip of Constança putting out some nice thing will go out on TikTok. India's banned TikTok. India's banned it. We don't have TikTok here. But otherwise, whatever other media.
Is it? I didn't know it was banned.
India banned a lot of Chinese apps. So TikTok was one of them. But whatever, I mean, we have various media available to us. So I'm saying these are the things that we have to put out, because I really feel sad when children do not know better, because that's the way it's, and we can't blame them because that's the influence that has come to them. I find it really sad. I mean, I see TV series, movies, person walks into a house, a beer is thrown at them. Where does it happen? Law firms, whiskey is being poured, sitting over a table. I haven't seen that happen. I've also practiced as a lawyer. It doesn't happen. It's just that whole concept of pushing it there, that alcohol has to be there at every step. It's huge. I mean, $1.5 trillion is not a small amount. I'm saying if people can understand and they say, look, let's not spend on alcohol, let's spend on some good things. Maybe look at some country somewhere. Let's adopt a village. Let's send something there. That'll be a better thing. But you can't blame people also, because the people whom you send funds to, they misuse those funds. These NGOs and everything, they misuse that. So whom do you find? That is why I want these reasonable voices that I'm trying to put together when we go out and we identify these people. These will be the people whom we can use to change things at the villages or in communities, because they are trusted and they are reasonable, they are fair. And that is how I think that if some kind of a movement can happen. Over time, it's not, I mean, there's no hurry. 5 years is nothing. I mean, 5 years, I mean, pandemic has taken so long, we don't even get to know. I mean, 2 years has just gone by.
Similarly, I think I have this privilege to being a teacher, you know, similarly to the community and to the village.
That's why I'm saying the teachers, you have to involve teachers at the communities and villages and bring them into the fold to be peacemakers. They're the peacemakers. And then they will help us identify the mediators. And then we'll bring them all together, because as part of my Vision 2026 on the website, because I don't know whether you went to the website. Did you go to the website? You said you did, but you didn't see Vision 2026. Okay, so in Vision 2026.
You mentioned about it last time we were together, and I joined your conversation with Gabriela.
So what I did was
Acredito.
I put out certain dates in terms of these conferences that I want to have. So we have an International Mediators Conference to start with on, I called 18th May 2022, 18th May as the International Mediators Day, coinciding with Ken Cloke's birthday. So that's me. Then I said 19th July is International Peacemakers Day. So we'll have a conference starting on this date on International Mediators Day. So that's when we get all these people together, whoever we can bring in by May, whoever come in. Every year we'll do this. So let's bring them together. On 19th July, we'll start a conference on Peacemakers Day. So let's get the peacemakers together. So these are, I'm saying that I felt that teachers would be a good idea. I felt that when August we do this International Conference on Mediation in our Culture and Traditions. This is coinciding with the International Day of the World's Indigenous People. And then in this, we can have, maybe we can discuss the restorative practices that these communities had. We can have those discussions in that. Decolonization, we start this conference on the International Day of Democracy, 15 September. So, and children's, for me, children seems to be target. I'm still keeping the youth in terms of the college law students and all. We'll get to them later, because they've already reached a stage when their minds might still have developed in a certain way. But let's target the children to start with, because the other thing I saw with the law students was that they are actually very busy. They're working really hard. I tried to involve some law students here. They were really busy. Either they were doing internships and they do full-time kind of work there. But children seems to, so the teacher target for us will help us get into schools also. So they will, but I don't want teachers to be involved in the process. I just want them to identify these children and then just leave them alone. Because otherwise you go back to that whole colonization thing that there's a person of authority. No, we don't want that. These children have to do it on their own. So that kind of an atmosphere, once these teachers first they in their communities identify the mediators, they'll understand, they'll be able to relate to it. Okay, so the children also need to do it in this way. So these are the various conferences which are coming up. We'll have more, we'll have to do other things. So things are,
isn't it Disneyland? It's even more than Disneyland.
You are going to see that terminology up there everywhere now. Like you saw Woodstock of mediation everywhere, and Constança is going to be mentioned there, that she has termed it.
Nobody can stop you.
You have to be part of it. You have to.
Yeah, we follow you. We follow you, but you are something.
And I want these similar things. You should be doing these. You should have a Brazilian conference on this. You should have that happening. That's how we grow. That's how we'll grow. If we have to, like I said, if we have to get those 1,000 reach 1,000, and we have to get those million, it's not difficult, Constança. It's not difficult.
Just take for example, last semester, I had 282 students in my mediation classes.
Wow.
Per semester.
So you have, okay. So that means, look, first of all, you have a reach. So you can obviously get these, you should get these children involved. I don't mind. They should get involved. But I just feel that they don't have too much time on their hands. And they're focused on getting into the profession, and they are not.
In a way, yes. But let me tell you, as far as my experience is concerned, I've been teaching classes at the university since 2009. The groups are aging. Each year we have older people going back to university, either going back because they want to change careers, or they just want to add value to their original careers. And I would say that at this point, there are no generation gaps in these groups, because they're quite balanced as far as their professional, personal perspectives are concerned. People have been more and more encouraged to study and perform in the it's the more it's the better in the marketplace. So I think this is a very good perspective to work from, and I don't think it will go backwards.
But the only thing that when I look at these students, when I just look at these law students and all, now I have to show them something there that in terms of mediation, if you go, because I was, of course, that Maslow's need hierarchy theory is not a new theory. It's been out there that the basic needs comes first. Now, how do I show these students that mediation, when we look at the court system and the free word gets to it, whatever little bit that these people get, now I have to show them something that, okay, a lawyer who practices litigation does this, gets this, and this is a person, a lawyer who's practicing mediation gets this. And somewhere similar, so you can to take either path. But here the mismatch is so much that to show, because I'm saying basic needs, you can't do away with it. To ask these children to rise above everything else, that do the larger good and everything, it might sound nice, but it's not going to work with them. They also have their needs, and we can't expect them to be that whole spirituality thing that you don't need anything, just go out in this. It's not going to happen. They also live in a certain social structure. So that is not, because of the court system and the amounts that mediators get in the court system, that issue comes up. So I am today to tell these law students that, look, you can make this your profession. Profession again, question mark. You can make it your profession. So how do you show them that if a profession means income also? Part of it is not just doing the larger good in society. So I think that way I would face a little bit of a difficulty showing them that path. There's a book that came out in India. Some people wrote some articles. Some say different people wrote chapters in that. And one of the person writes about comparison of mediation, arbitration, and in under mediation it is free. This is what you're sending on. This is for law students, because it's become compulsory in our for law students now from this year. So what book are you giving them? You're giving them the book where you say mediation is free. You start off with that. How are you going to tell them to take it up? So this is the kind of thing that is going around, because all these people are part of the court system. In India, nothing else has happened in terms of mediation. But people like me are very rare who are practicing as mediation, private mediation, as you would want to call it. I want to call that mediation. Everything else is an anomaly. According to me, we should say, okay, court-related mediation and this. Why should we have to say private mediation? That is the way mediation is supposed to be. That is what it is. So when we say mediation, it should be someone practicing on their own and not related to the court system or anything. But because it is taken that path, whatever the reasons are. So that's why I felt the teachers was, according to me, a good target to take together, because, like I said, they have that confident trust in the community. And if we can explain to them, and they'll understand very fast. It's not a difficult concept to explain to anyone. It's such an easy thing. So I think when they go out and they talk in communities, they talk about it, I feel the impact will be much better, because I earlier actually thought the students will go out, but the impact will not be the same. So teachers have they have a major influence in society. Teachers have a major influence.
Well, opinion makers also. And the idea, as far as Brazil is concerned, when we added ADR courses to the law program, is the criteria was that lawyers per se are problem solvers. That's why they started with the law schools. By the way, we have 1,000 plus law schools in Brazil, as opposed to 400 approximately law schools in the United States. We don't need that many lawyers.
You do. How many cases are pending in courts in yours?
No, but if you are able to have these lawyers become ADR professionals. Okay, they don't need to be. They go to law school, but they don't need to take the bar examination.
But Constança, I have to move you away from ADR. I have to move you to mediation, because ADR today, because arbitration has taken over that field. So like I said, mediation becomes that poor cousin of arbitration. We don't have to let that happen. It's very interesting. I mean, when I look at the situation, there was some group of students in India who started this organization, and they had the mediate word in it. What are they doing? They started very nicely promoting mediation and all. What are they doing today? Promoting arbitration. Imagine now you're promoting it with students. You have the mediate word in what you're doing, and you're promoting arbitration. That whole confusion that you want to take away, you're putting it back into their minds that mediate means some way connected to arbitration. I mean, you have to break it. That thing is not happening because, let me very clearly, I see people start with good intentions. Finally, the money is in promoting arbitration and in training people in mediation and making mediators, as they say. That's where the money is, and everyone goes that path, whatever be. And that's why I'm trying to be, I do not want to institutionalize what I do. I put up on my website, support me, whatever might come in. But I do not want to, because that's the path, that's the easiest path. Today, start a certification program. That's mediator Vikram certification program. Maybe I should do that. Oh, that's not a bad idea. I think, I think that's not a bad idea. Maybe we'll do that. No, but we want, it's not that we make money out of it, but let's look at that also. Maybe these people whom we identify, because if they would have gone through your whatever, I mean, you would have spoken to them, you would be able to endorse them. So then Constança's endorsed them, then Islands also endorsed them, and then we can have certified, in that sense, certified the right certification. Then maybe that's a good idea. We do something like that. But let's first identify. Let's get them together.
Okay.
Constança, very nice talking to you. I can see now you have to leave. These conversations do go long. You know, if these go on that long, so I'm sure you were. So we now, next is we're going to talk when you have identified some people, some teachers who can go out into communities and identify these people, bring some names back to you, and you have a conversation with these people. Just have a conversation with the people who have benefited from them. So they will give you, just maybe if you can record it, it'll be very nice, that they can tell you, look, we did this, or someone else will talk about them, that they do this, they did it like that, because you get to know that everyone knows about mediation. You don't even have to tell them about it, because they've actually seen it happening. So this is what needs to be done. So thank you very much, Constança.
I thank you for having me again, having this opportunity to chat with you on a lovely Saturday morning. Is all the best. Thanks again. Wish you all well. Stay safe, everyone. And let's plan another session. Yeah. I'll be available from March on. Okay.
Perfect. So and you'll, of course, what we'll do is that lecture series. Maybe you can come in either in the lecture series, or we'll make it part of Vision 2026. We'll decide that. We'll take it up, because March schedule is coming out now. March is also almost all fixed now. So I'll maybe what we'll do is, let me shut this live stream, and the recording will take 2 minutes. I'll show you the schedule, and we'll put you there, and we'll decide what to do with that. Okay. So thank you very much, Constança. Thank you for
again.
And taking out time to talk to me and not enjoying the sun, your Saturday morning sun.
No. To me, I'm not fishing for compliments and trying to be nice, but